Hey guys, it's Sarah here, back to you with another episode of Crafts with Sarah. In today's video, I'm going to be doing a quick tutorial on how to paint a cherry blossom tree. It's quite simple and very easy. What you're going to need is a canvas or a piece of paper, some acrylic paint, paintbrushes, paper towel, a cup of water, and a palette to put your paint onto. So I'm going to start with some blue and white, and I'm just going to paint a background. I'm going to wet my brush a little bit, mix it in with the paint, and I'm going to paint a blue and white sky. So the background on this painting doesn't really matter as much because the focal point is the cherry blossom tree. So you can paint whatever kind of sky you want. I just did streaky blue and white horizontal brush strokes. And then for the ground, I used a little bit of green and I just made some grass. Like I said, it doesn't really matter too much. You can be creative here, put as much detail as you want, make it super abstract. I just decided to keep my background simple and focus more on the tree. So we're gonna dive into painting the tree now. You're gonna take some brown paint and a medium-sized brush, and you're gonna start by painting the trunk. So I'm just kind of sketching out lightly a brown line, just where I want my tree to be and how big I want it to be. And then I'm gonna go in and make it a little bit thicker. So when you're painting a tree, you want the base of the trunk to be a little bit thicker, and then it gets smaller as it goes up. And then what I like to do when I'm painting trees is I kind of make the letter Y. So I make two big branches that look kind of like the letter Y, and then I'll go in it and I'll start adding other branches coming off of those two main branches. So when you're doing branches, kind of some things to keep in mind. You don't need to make them straight lines. When you look at a tree outside, none of the branches are perfectly straight. They'll have curves, and they twist, and they're different sizes going in different directions. They overlap with one another. So don't worry about trying to make these branches look perfect because they don't need to be. Then I'm gonna take a slightly smaller brush and I'm gonna do kind of the same thing, but I'm just gonna make some tinier little branches. So making them branch off into different directions. They're overlapping with some of the other branches. And I made some of the thicker branches a little pointier on the end. So like the trunk, branches kind of start thicker at the base and then they get skinnier and pointier at the ends. So you can do as many as you want. I did quite a lot, but again, they don't need to be perfect because there's gonna be cherry blossoms covering them. So you gotta let it dry. And once it's dry, we're gonna start doing the blossoms. You need red and white paint. So I'm gonna take a little bit of white and I'm gonna mix it into the red to make sort of a dark pink color. And I'm using my medium-sized brush again. And it's kind of a rounded end brush. Then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just start dabbing with this dark pink to create some cherry blossoms. It's kind of fun to do. You just dab all over your canvas. I'm kind of focusing on the ends of the branches, making little clusters, but I'm doing some in the middle as well. You can have fun and just do these little blossoms all over the place. So you're gonna do quite a lot. And we're gonna be layering on top of these, so you can do quite a lot of these dark pink blossoms. And I did a few floating around in the air, kind of like the wind is blowing them. All right, so what you're gonna do next is take a little bit more white and you're gonna mix it into that existing kind of pile of dark pink and you're gonna make a slightly lighter pink color. And then you're gonna do the same thing. You're gonna go in and dab with your paintbrush the lighter pink color. So I'm kind of layering it on top of that darker pink that I had before, creating some more little clusters of leaves together. Some of them are more spread apart. You can have lots of fun with this. Just dab it everywhere. There's not really a right or wrong way to do this. If you want to use a tiny brush, you can have some really tiny little blossoms. I'm just kind of sticking with my medium brush the whole time. I'm just doing that all over the place in front of some of that dark pink. You don't want to cover all of the dark pink though. You want it to kind of peek through. So So the reason we're using more than one shade of pink is that it just gives more dimension to the leaves and kind of has like some shadows and some highlights in there, some more detail. So you still want the dark pink to kind of peek through in some areas. Sometimes you need to take a step back and look at your painting from far away and see where you might want to add some more blossoms. So I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to take more white and make an even lighter pink. I'm going to make a very kind of pastel pink. I'm actually going to go and do the same thing again. So we're going to be layering on top of the dark pink and the medium pink. And we're going to be adding even more highlight and dimension into our cherry blossom. And if you don't feel like doing cherry blossoms, you could also do the same technique with just green. You can start with kind of a darker, deeper green and then move on to a lighter green, or you can make it a fall tree with like red and orange and yellow. It's totally up to you. I just decided to do cherry blossoms because it's springtime now, and I felt like it was a very springtimey painting. All right, so the last step of the leaves is I washed off my brush and I'm gonna take a little bit of white and I'm gonna do the same thing, just not quite as many white dots as I did with the pink. I'm gonna add some little highlights of white all throughout the tree, here and there. Some of the leaves that are floating around in the air, and then I decided to take some of the pink and do some leaves actually on the ground as if they fell off of the tree. And this is totally optional, you don't have to put them on the ground. I just felt like I wanted to add that in. So a few more here and there. And there you pretty much have it. I just went back in with some of the brown just to darken up some of the branches and the trunk. If you want, you can add some more details. You could add some birds, or if you want to add some flowers, you can really do whatever you want. The thing about painting is it doesn't have to be perfect. You can have fun. It doesn't have to be the exact same as someone else's painting. You can make it unique and make it your own. Just have fun with it. There's no pressure to make your painting look perfect. It's all about just trying something new, practicing, and having fun. All right, and there you have it. It's a super easy way to make your very own cherry blossom tree painting.